MCP server on Vercel. Today, we're asking what's the simplest path to deploy the official Perplexity MCP server with the fewest steps. We'll start with the template I've been using. We'll pull in the official Perplexity tools from the official MCP repository, deploy the server, and connect it into a chat application. Let's dive right in. I'll share my screen and we can get started. So again, step one, I'm going to fork the Vercel template that I've been using. I'm going to fork this. I'm going to call it MCP Perplexity Vercel, maybe. Free MCP server hosting using Vercel. We're going to call this Perplexity MCP with Vercel hosting. Once we fork it, let's go ahead and connect it up to Vercel and see if we can get a deployment out right now. Okay, inside of Vercel, we just click Add New, and then we should have the option to add a new project. Create a new project. Here's my MCP Perplexity Vercel from 47 seconds ago. And I'm going to keep everything empty and let's just see if we can deploy. What this is going to do is it's going to deploy our template MCP server to Vercel with functionality from Recoup right now, because this MCP server is specifically for Recoup tools. It looks like it's already on the deploy step. Looks like it just finished. We now have an MCP server deployed on Vercel. We can visit the main page and see the mock landing page for what this template was for. We should be able to hit SSE. Well, SSE is where we'll use our MCP server, but we can't just get it inside of a web browser. So we have now forked the MCP template. We've added in our Vercel config. Let's clone it locally and try to add in the Perplexity tools. So in order to clone it locally, I will go back to the new repository I've just created, click the code button, copy the SSH link, and now let's go into a terminal. Go into wherever you keep your project files. In this case, I'm going to go into the Recoup folder because this is going to be an MCP server we're going to be using at Recoup. Now I run git clone and I paste that URL I copied in order to clone the Git repository locally. Once we clone the repository, we can change directory inside of it with cd MCP Perplexity Vercel, and then I'll use cursor./ to open up the repository inside of cursor. I don't need this terminal anymore, so I'll move that down. Let's move this new cursor application up. And now we've got our app. Taking a quick look at this, it's a very simple app. You can see there's not a lot in it. The main functionality should be inside of index.js. API server is the landing page, it seems. So we go into API server, and here we've got our tools being defined, and then we've got our capabilities. And so what I'm going to do is try to take this I'm wondering if I should just clone this repository inside of my project so that it has the reference. I think I'm going to do that just so that cursor has the context. So this is the official MCP server from Perplexity. You can just go on to Perplexity's GitHub. You can see that they have an MCP server here, but it's not built to work out of the box with Vercel. It's built to work with Claude, with Docker. Like if you run it locally, it'll work, but I want it to be hosted in Vercel. I want this to be easier. I don't want to have to worry about running the server. So I'll copy this. Command J will open up my terminal down below. And now I'm going to make a directory called reference. And I'm going to paste. Actually, I could just clone it in here. So let's git clone. And now we've got model context protocol from Perplexity. And I'll just rename this reference. And I'm also going to make a temporary scratchpad file that I will not be committing. Use this scratch pad. Okay. Now on the right, I'm going to say, could you please update your scratch pad to plan out how you would update the tools being exported by this repository to use the reference tools from Perplexity? I'll move this over. Can you please update your at scratchpad and make sure that it knows to plan out how you would update the tools being exported by the repository to use the reference tools from Perplexity. Let's see what it can do. First prompt of the day. I'll help plan it out. Let me examine stuff. Checking the current tools. Update the scratch pad. There we go. So far doing exactly what we want. It's not going to make any modifications. First, it's going to tell us what it's thinking inside of the scratch pad, and we'll align on the scratch pad before I let it go and make changes in the actual code base. This is going to allow me to, one, understand what its plan is and review that plan. And it gives Cursor a place to put its implementation plan so that it also has a document to follow when it's making those changes. Yep, those are the three tools I was expecting. We need Perplexity Ask, Reason, and Research. Add the API client dependencies, update the environment variables, create an example env, create a new file, implement perform check completion function from reference, add proper error handling, implement citation, create a tool schema matching the reference, implement proper input validation, create a new API route handlers for each tool. Steps 1 through 3 seem more or less accurate, but step 4 seems odd to me. Why would you not just update the existing API endpoint defined here with the new tools? And then instead of API, we take server, add it in there. And again, this is exactly what I want. It showed me its thinking. I have some questions on step 4, and now it's going to explain. We already have a well-structured server file that handles tool registration. We should simply extend the existing setup. Now it's going to update its implementation plan. Update lib tool configs to include the new tool configs. Add the new handlers for each tool. Register the new tools in server.tx. Yep, this looks great. There's a much better approach that aligns with the existing architecture. Looking at the server, we can see the tools are registered using tool configurations, handlers, registration. It's now going to update its scratchpad again, having a better understanding of how our architecture is laid out. Once it makes this update, I'm just going to let it continue to go. to start implementing. I think I want it to do one at a time. Let's just start. Let's let it do all three. Why add an artificial cap on what it's going to do? Perplexity API client. Tool definitions. Lib tool configs. There's recoup tools, and then we'll get one for Perplexity tools. Define the tool schema using Zod. Add lib handlers, Perplexity handlers. That sounds great. It's all looking good. Please start implementing. I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to specify a specific step, but I will start with please. Costs nothing to be polite, even if it's to a robot. Okay. It's going to get started with the client. We are 11 minutes in. So far, we have forked the template repository. We've connected it to Vercel and gotten it deployed. And we're now updating our local MCP server to add in the Perplexity tools. It's a long file. I'm not super happy with how long it is. Where's the API key defined? Where's the API key? Looks like the Perplexity client's not being used here. Now let's create the tool config. And so now we've got 3 tools being defined. Ask, which engages in a conversation using the Perplexity Sonar API. It returns a chat completion response with optional citations. That's what I'm familiar with using so far. Perplexity Research performs deep research using the Perplexity API, optimized for deep, detailed research queries with citations. And then Reason performs reasoning tasks using the Perplexity Sonar Reasoning Pro, optimized for logical reasoning and analysis. All of them take an array of messages, each with a role and content. So the parameters are the same for all of them. They're just going to take the raw chat, and then the only difference is how it's going to think. One does a normal chat completion, one does deep research, and one focuses on logic and reasoning. That's the Perplexity tools. After that, we have the handler for each of those tools. So if one of the tools gets triggered, this is the logic for that function. Here's where we've defined that API key that I'm going to be using. So I need to make sure that I add that. Messages, handle Perplexity, validate the params. We get the chat completion. Oh, okay, so this is the handler for the ask, research, reason. I don't like that they're all defined in one file. Is it still going? Oh, it's still doing stuff. Wow. Okay. Well, the first thing, I want to split this out into 3 files instead of it all being in one. But since it's still writing, let's keep reading through. So we've got the ask, does the chat completion, taking in the message params, which is an array of messages. And so we either are doing chat completion, research, or reason. It's the main difference between these 3. Let's keep scrolling through to see more of the changes. Here's the main server. So here's where we're actually adding in those tools. We've got the Perplexity Ask tool with the handler for Perplexity Ask. We've got the research tool with the handler for Perplexity Research. And we've got the reasoning tool with the handler for Perplexity Reasoning. And why are we changing this? I don't know why we're changing this. But as long as it works, it works. Let's accept it. And keep scrolling. I'm feeling sleepy. Inside of our tool configs for index, we're adding in the Perplexity tools. These tool configs, I believe, are being used inside of the server file. Yep. And that, and now it's creating a env.example. Now we've got our Perplexity API key in there. Would you like me to, yada, yada, yada. What I would like you to do is please create a new file for each of these instead of defining them all in one file. Please create a new function file for each of these handlers to follow the single responsibility principle. That sounds like a great idea. Make a folder for all my Perplexity tools and then put those individual handlers inside of that folder. We've already got the ask. Now we're getting the research handler. And then we'll get the reasoning handler. And now we should need to update the imports because we're no longer using Perplexity handlers. And then we should also delete Perplexity handlers. This is great. We've got an index that brings it all together. I don't like dev comments. And now Perplexity handlers. Is this even necessary? I guess it's fine. Feels a little convoluted to have this extra file when it feels the exact same as this index, but overall I'm happy. Seems cleaner. Is there anything else we need to do, or can we push this? I think we're good to push this. So what I need to do is get that API key and add it into Vercel. Let's see how many files we changed. I'll add these manually just to make sure I'm happy with them. Perplexity tools has our definitions of the parameters and the names and the descriptions. The index is adding all of the Perplexity tools for our tool configs. We've now got a client file for the Perplexity client. We've got a research handler that handles when the research Perplexity task is called. Same for reasoning and same for the ask command. And then we have an index that makes it easy to export all of those together. This handler feels unnecessary to me, but we'll include it. Server is our main API file, and this is where those tools are actually going to be used. Scratchpad I would like to ignore, so let's add that to our get ignore. Scratchpad. Now we add our get ignore, and our env example has the example API key. All of these seem great. I don't want to push straight to main. I would like to check out to, and I don't have any tickets for this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a quick ticket inside of linear to make sure that I'm associating my work with a ticket. We've added the Perplexity tools. Let's open this up in a PR, get this shipped. I'm not even going to ship it yet. We'll just keep it on a preview branch, and I can test it in my chat app without shipping it to prod. So let's go to projects, recoup. And then inside of here, we should have MCP. Yeah. And so inside of here, I'll make a new ticket. P1 Perplexity MCP new server. I'm not even going to put in a description. The only thing I'm trying to do is track the work. Move this up top. In the top right corner of any linear ticket, you'll see a copy get branch name. I'll copy that get branch name. Click the 3 dots to check out to my new branch. I'm just going to copy the title of my ticket as the commit message, commit all those changes. Before I publish the branch, I want to go over to Vercel, and I want to add in that environment variable. So I'll go to settings, environment variables, and once we're here in environment variables, I'll go to my ENV example, copy the key name, paste the key name, and now I need the value. The value I have stored in Slack, which I'm going to need to open anyways for the code review. I'm going to keep this off stream because I'm going to be sharing, well, I'm going to be looking at the environment variable I need. And so if you're following along and you're setting up your Vercel environment right now, I recommend you do not share your keys, but set it up exactly as I have. Go into your settings in Vercel, go into your environment variables, add the key of Perplexity API key, the value. I'm going to put in my value. And again, I'm going to do this off camera real quick just to make sure that I'm not sharing our keys. Paste the key, save the key. We have finished saving that. And so you can see down here, I now have Perplexity API key, and I've got my value over there. And so now I feel ready to publish the branch. And let's start testing. We're 22 minutes in. So far, we have forked our MCP template. We've added in the Perplexity tools, and now we're going to connect it up to our chat app to see if it's working. I can see if we go to the deployments tab, we should already have a successful deployment for this branch. Looks like it's building, so it has not finished yet. Looks like it just finished. And so now what I can do is I can take this domain. Actually, first what I need to do is I have to go back into settings. I'm using a preview domain right now. I have not deployed this to production. And so by default, Vercel has deployment protection, which makes it so that visitors cannot view the preview deployments of an app. I'm going to flip that off and save it. And I think we need to redeploy in order for those effects to set in. Let's see by clicking on this link if it says authorizing. Nope, it just let me in. So I think we're actually good to try testing this. In order to test it, let's get our chat repo running locally. I'll get out of this. I'll go into recoup chat cursor./ to open up this app in cursor. We'll move terminal out of here. We've got a new window over here. And now we can close out. The only thing I need to find, let's find where we've got our MCP, get MCP tools. And here is where I've defined all of our MCP tools. It looks like the Perplexity MCP server, so far I've defined that as an environment variable. And so I'll share this link because for now it'll be public. So we copy this link. I'm going to replace this with the full link. And then at the end, I just need SSE so that it hits the SSE part. I'm going to let's roll back these changes and check out to main just to make sure I'm on the latest version. Check out to main. Pull in case I'm missing something. Looks like we're good. Save the changes, and now I run pnpm dev to run my chat locally. So we've got inside of what I'm using on this front end chat, to give you a little bit more context, is we're using Vercel's AI SDK, which makes it very easy to plug in MCP tools with our chat application. You can see here we have our streaming text options. We're using Claude 3.7. We have thinking to include reasoning. We give a max number of steps so that if it needs to continue to process multiple tools, it can. We give it all the tools, and the tools are coming from our MCP tools. And we've got 2 MCP servers. One is the Perplexity MCP that I just built. And then another is, it says Mantle there, but it's actually Recoup. And those are our own internal tools. So let's try testing this by going to localhost 3000, which is going to be my chat app. And we'll see if I need to sign in or not. It's compiling. If you've tuned in this far and you already have experience building MCP servers, let me know what your thoughts are on this architecture of taking an official MCP server that works with Claude desktop app, Cursor, and other applications where you usually need to run it locally, and being able to deploy it onto Vercel. If you're familiar with MCP, have you hosted any MCP servers on Vercel? In your experience, are there any drawbacks or upsides with deploying MCP servers on Vercel? And if you're watching this and all of those words I just said sound foreign to you and you have no experience deploying MCP servers on Vercel, what questions do you have? If this is your first time trying to deploy an MCP server on Vercel, does this make sense? Does this feel easy? If it's not easy or it doesn't make sense, please ask a question. I have the chat right here. And if you leave a question on the YouTube video, on the LinkedIn post, or on the live stream on X, I will see that and I will reply. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this server a QR code. And so I'm going to put it in the top left corner of this video so that if you want to get started, you can. Let's cancel, modify the start here. All right, here is our server. Check in the top left. If you're watching this and you want to clone the repository that I'm working on, the exact repository that I'm building right now, it's up in the top left corner. Use that, fork it. It's MIT license, so use it, monetize it, give it out to others for free, remix it. You can do whatever you'd like with it. It's open source. Looks like we should be running. Let's go back to the chat. It looks like we are running. How are we doing? Can I say the word hi? Seems like it's still loading. I'm going to try refreshing it. Okay, it looks like I need to log in. Two four two 587. 242 587. Now we're logged in. And now that we're logged in, let's try saying hi. Check out what these issues are. That should be fine. It's taken a while. I'm going to try to go into an existing chat. If it's possible. Let's try just refreshing the page. It might have gotten stuck. Okay, we got our artists on the right. On the left, we've got our existing chats. I want to be able to select one of these existing chats. I'm just trying to test this. And right now, testing is proving to be very slow. This is a familiar trend. When we're on live streams, everything gets slower because we're streaming a lot more data. Let's go to an existing chat. Is the chat going to load? All right. Let's try just saying the word hi. I don't think I've connected a Redis instance to the chat. Yep, we got an internal server error. So let me go back over here and try remembering how I connected I think it's storage. And I want to connect this. Let's connect it. And we've now added the Redis client. Let's go back to deployments and try doing a new deployment for my branch. Let's create the deployment. And while it's deploying, I want to see if I can find out if there were any errors in the logs. Redis okay, so it looks like our error was that Redis URL environment variable was not set. And so without that means that we're going in the right direction. Let's go back over here. Let's see if our deployment's successful. We've now deployed. Let's try it again. I'm just going to say the word hi. It starts to think. Okay. It looks like it's now actually reasoning. And now it's doing a bunch of analysis. So we're at least getting a response now. And let me see how our logs are looking. Did it receive any requests? It looks like it's received requests and it is responding. And so what I'm going to try to do now is see if we can get Can you give me the weather in Santiago, Chile? This would be something that we would need to use Perplexity in order to get the answer to, because it needs to go out and do a web search. I'll need to use a Perplexity tool. It says it's going to go try. It's using the Perplexity ask function. Fingers crossed, let's see if it actually is going to work with Perplexity now. It looks like it is able to use Perplexity, and it's able to get me back that Perplexity ask. Can you please do deep research to give me the overall weather trends for Santiago, Chile over the past 50 years? Let's see if that works. Now what I'm going to try to do is see if we can get the the deep research tool to see if that works. Perplexity seems like it's working. I'm feeling confident in our MCP server. Now let's see if we can test out some of those other tools that I didn't have access to before. I'll use the Perplexity research, so it's already familiar that it has a Perplexity research tool. It's now going to go out and use Perplexity to do that deeper research to get us the research that we're looking for. I'm curious if the deep research works within the context of, I apologize, let me try again with a different approach. Okay, so it looks like the deep research failed. Let's see if we see any error logs from its attempt to Perplexity Vercel. It's telling me that it's coming from Santiago, so it's coming from me. But I don't know what tool it's trying to call. Oh, method tools. It's listing the tools. Tools call Perplexity research. Please provide a comprehensive analysis of weather trends in Santiago, Chile over the past 50 years. Include information about temperature changes, yada, yada, yada. Please include specific data points. Did it reply? Looks like it's still thinking. Let's see if it's able to do it. Perplexity reasoning. You're a helpful assistant. Please provide a comprehensive analysis of weather trends. Include this. So it's trying to now use the reason instead of deep research. I'm curious why it didn't finish with deep research. We tried using research, then we went to reason. Are we going to get a response? Or are we just getting stuck? I have a feeling we need to extend the amount of time this repo is able to think. Ooh, one thing I forgot to do, which is an important step, is enabling fluid compute. We need to enable fluid compute on Vercel in order for MCP to work. We'll enable this. We're going to need to do a redeploy. I want to increase this, but I think I'm limited. Yeah, I'm on a free tier, so I got to stay at 60, so we'll keep it to 60. But fluid compute is an important step. So let's, two things that I had missed that I want to highlight. Number one, make sure that you've connected a Redis instance so that it's able to do its messaging and caching in that Redis. Redis is free to set up on Vercel, so you can do that for free. The second one is fluid compute. Make sure you add in fluid compute, which is an important step for allowing MCP servers to work. What fluid compute does is instead of spinning up a new computation instance with a cold start problem every single time a query is received, fluid compute allows that same instance of the computation instance to live throughout multiple requests, which is great for when you need that context preserved across multiple messages. Looks like I got stuck on I'm going to refresh the page, and I'm going to try the same prompt. We're moving in the right direction. The MCP server is working. The biggest question is, can we have all of those tools work, like the deep research and reasoning, or is it only the ask tool that works? If only the ask tool works, that's fine. I'll just get rid of research and reasoning. if these changes do work, to make the other tools work even better, because now we've got more tools that we can use, which more tools for our assistant means the assistant is more empowered to do what it needs. Continue. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Perplexity research. It's going to conduct the deep research over the past 50 years. Okay, it had a technical error again. This is a second flag. I think I'm probably going to remove the research tool because I don't want to be getting errors like this in the chat. And now the question is it going to get stuck like it did last time, or is it going to reply? All right. We are getting a response. So it seems like my changes did fix the bug, and we're getting a whole lot of text. Let's briefly read over this. Climate trends in Santiago, Chile over the past 50 years. Temperature changes. It's experienced significant warming trend during the past 5 decades. Annual temperatures have increased at an accelerating rate of 0.18 Celsius per decade from 1981 to 2022. Chile has experienced 12 years of warmer than normal years since 2011. 8 of Chile's 10 warmest years on record occurred in the last 2 decades. The Central Valley, where Santiago is located, is warming faster than the coastal areas. Precipitation, profound decline in precipitation. Frequency of and intensity of extreme weather events has increased. Glacial impacts on the water supply. Santiago's water supply has been affected. Seems like it did some deep research. Let's see if the tool ended up being called by going into the latest deployment, go into the logs, and let's see what happened. Perplexity ask, Perplexity research. It seems like only the Perplexity ask task is working. Can you please use some reasoning in this? I just want to see if the reasoning tool is going to work. So far, the next step I want to do is I want to remove the deep research. It's using the Perplexity reason tool. Let's see if that tool works. So far, Perplexity ask seems to be working perfectly. Perplexity deep research does not seem to be working for me, so that I'm going to leave that as a blocker for now. And now the question is, does Perplexity reason work, or do I remove that one as well and only use Perplexity ask? Question I have is, why did the deep research tool fail, and where can I find out why the deep research tool failed? It looks like reasoning is working. Let's verify by coming back over here and go into the live mode. What did we just trigger? Our latest message is using Perplexity reason. Before that, it listed the tools. So it seems like we listed the tools, we did reasoning, and now we got the response from reasoning. The interconnected climate system changes reveal a complex web of cause and effect relationship. Temperature, precipitation, glacier cycle, rising temperatures, reinforces dangerous feedback loop, less precipitation, less snowpack, faster melt, temporary water abundance, false security, eventual severe shortage. This explains why Santiago initially benefited from initial increased glacial meltwater while now facing acute water scarcity. Urban heat island amplification, socioeconomic reasoning on water resource competition, energy transition paradox, Looking forward to critical thresholds. I'm not a weather expert, but this seems like great details. So I'm happy with how this is working. Let me try one more time. Let's try one more time to do deep research on the music industry in Santiago, Chile. Did it work? I actually don't know where it typed. There we go. This time, let's go into the actual focus of what I like to focus on, which is the music industry. I'm based in Santiago now, and so let's see. It's going to try to use the Perplexity deep research tool. Let's see if we get that error message again, or if it actually works. Fingers crossed that we get it to work this time. Drums rolling. If we can get deep research, that would be awesome, because then I don't need to modify this. We can ship it to prod. And if it doesn't work, no big deal. I'll just take a couple more steps. Wow, did it work? Let's see what happened. Go back to the server. We're still on live. What happened? We did Perplexity Ask, tools list. Did it not do deep research? It does not seem like it used deep research. It only used Perplexity Ask. So even though it's aware that it had the Perplexity research tool, it didn't use it. So let me copy the same question and let's go into a different chat. And let's see if I want to try triggering the actual deep research tool one more time to see if it'll work or not. Wait for the messages to load if they exist. Let's just try sending it. Perplexity research tool. Apologize for the technical error. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the research tool, push it up, and then we should be good to ship this. I'm overall very happy with how this is working. Overall progress that we've made so far. One, we have forked the MCP Vercel template. You can find it in the top left for everything that we're building. If you want to clone this repository, just scan that QR code. It'll take you right to GitHub where I've been publishing this. After we forked the template, we connected it to Vercel. We then updated that MCP server with Perplexity tools. I've deployed those changes to Vercel, and we are now connecting the chat to use those new Perplexity tools. As you can see on my screen, it is actively using those tools. I just asked it to do deep research on the music industry in Santiago. We found the current state of the industry. It's the heart of Chile's vibrant music scene, which stands as the 4th largest recorded music market in Latin America, despite Chile being only the 7th most populous country. The industry has shown remarkable resilience and growth. Digital streaming revenue, overall music recorded, major record labels and studios. It gave me a bunch of record labels that I can reach out to, prominent venues. Movie Star Arena, I was looking at that yesterday. It's only a couple blocks away from me, and it looks like a massive arena. Popular music genre. Excellencia was telling me that there's a reggaeton scene, like that Santiago, Chile is the reggaeton capital of Latin America, which I didn't know, but I'm not even seeing it here. Top music in Santiago is urban music, new Chilean pop, traditional classic music, electronic music, hip hop and rap, and then cumbia. Influential artists. We've got artists that it's giving me. Chico Trujillo, Ana Tijoux. Challenges, recovery from COVID-19, opportunities, expanding the streaming market, music festivals. Here's some music festivals, recent developments. Happy with this. Let's keep moving. So I've got a pull request. Let's get this pull request shipped. Let's get this pull request shipped. So what I'll do is I'll come over here. Let's open up a pull request and let's do our first pull request review of the day. If you're watching this video and your main goal is just to deploy on Vercel, know that we've already done that. We've deployed it on Vercel. This is Perplexity, MCP server, hosted on Vercel, working inside of our Vercel AI SDK chat app. which we were just testing over here. At this point, I'm refining it. So we're 50 minutes in, we've already completed the task. Now I'm just cleaning it up and getting it ready for actual integration into our production app. Create the pull request. Take my pull request. I should have Slack open somewhere. I do, but it's on my API keys, so let me get out of that. Let's bring it over here so y'all can see what my code review process looks like. And now inside of here, we say hashtag recoup. And I copied the ticket name from linear. I like linear to be over here. Copy the ticket title, paste it in, add the word ticket, copy the ticket URL, paste the ticket URL, and we now have a pull request up. For the next step, I'm just going to review it. Well, I guess I'll take a screenshot of it working. I got lost. Let's move you closer so that I don't get lost. Command Shift 4. Perplexity tools are being called successfully using our new MCP server. There's no real place to test, so I'm not going to send any testing links, but it's working. So let's get this shipped. And then after this, we're going to, for remove research tool, 5, README updated, README and the landing page will get updated. And that's it. Let's remove the research tool, update the README and the landing page. And then 6, prod chat integration. We've tested it locally, but I actually want to ship the new MCP server into our production environment. So we'll do all those steps. Remaining steps in this video, we'll remove the research tool. We'll update the README and the landing page with correct information for this specific MCP server. And then we'll update our production app to include this new MCP server that we have now deployed onto Vercel. Environment, example, git ignore, the server. Oh, we also need to remove the research tool and recoup tools. We don't need 2 MCP servers, both defining all the recoup tools. So we'll remove recoup tools from this server. This server will be exclusively for Perplexity. We got our new tools. We've got our handler for our ask, index, reasoning handler, research handler, which doesn't work. All of the handlers, the client for Perplexity, index, which is pulling in the Perplexity tools, our definition of the Perplexity tools. I'm happy with this. Let's get it shipped and move on to our next task so that we can keep shipping. First pull request I'm shipping today. Time is 12 p.m. Getting started a little bit later than I would like, but it is what it is. It's a chilly day. All right, take the screenshot, go in the right direction. We have shipped this. Add in our ship emoji here. And from here, let's move on to our next task. Because I have not defined any of these tasks, let's define some more tasks. So the tasks that I would like to do are first, P1 Perplexity MCP. I'm going to copy this because I'm going to be using it in all of the tickets. remove research tool and recoup tools. Perplexity readme plus landing page prod chat integration. Let's create those tickets and let's start building. Go back to our code base. I'm going to make a new file called roadmap.md. Hashtag roadmap. I like to use the roadmap because this is where I define what it is we're going to be working on. I'll add in the task that we've already finished. And now we'll add in those new tickets that I've just defined. I'm happy with how fast this is going. I was expecting it to be a little bit harder, but so far vibe coding has done the trick. Okay, let's get started by saying, please prepare your Scratchpad for step 2. While it's syncing, I'll copy the branch name, go to our Git tab, check out to our branch, publish the branch, and now we not check out to, we pull from origin main, and now we push those changes. Scratchpad's going to get updated. MCP servers have been changing the game for me as a dev building AI tools for musicians. Before, we had tightly coupled our chat with the tools. Everything lived in the same repo, and it kind of made it complex because tools wouldn't necessarily follow the same standard. And now that we have MCP, like you see now, we have an MCP server that defines tools for a specific domain, in this case, Perplexity and search. And it's totally decoupled from our chat app. And our chat app just makes a query to the MCP server. The MCP server has all the tools, and the chat focuses on the chat, and it has references to those tools. But the tools focus on the tools, the chat focuses on the chat, and it follows the single responsibility principle and creates clear delineation between what one repository is responsible for versus another. Let's see what it is thinking of. Perplexity improvements, duplicate code, each handler. I'm not sure you understand this task. I'd like you to remove delete this tool and any other files which import it, please remove the import. We want to totally get rid of the reasoning tool because it does not work. We also want to get rid of all of the recoup tools because those are legacy code from the template, and we already have those defined in a different repository. Delete this tool and any other files which import them. Please remove the import. What? And any other files, please remove the import. We want to totally get rid of the reasoning tool because it does not work. We also want to get rid of all the recoup tools because those are legacy code from the template, and we already have those defined, not to find. Defined in a different repository. There we go. We're now in cleanup mode. At 50 minutes, we had this working. We're now cleaning it up and integrating it into our production app. It took us less than an hour to get Perplexity hosted on Vercel, tested in our chat. There we go. Now it's deleting stuff. Delete. Wait. Reason handler. I accidentally, whoops, that's my mistake. We want to keep reasoning and only delete research. I accidentally set it up here that we wanted to delete reasoning, but reasoning was working. So keep anything that works, delete anything that does not work. We'll keep the reasoning tool, but remove the research tool. Yes. Update the tool configuration. It should hopefully remove all this research. Boom, we removed all that research, except we've now only got ask and reason in here. It'll update the handlers file to delete this file, which has errors. Update the main handler to remove this as well. Again, I don't think this file is necessary, and it also adds an additional maintenance step anytime we want to change the tools. Now let's delete the research handler file. I think you already did. You've already deleted it, but sure. Let's also remove the recoup tools since they're legacy code. Yep. Goodbye, recoup tools. Let's update the tool config to remove the recoup tools. That sounds great. Now that we've got our Perplexity tools in here, let's update the server to remove the recoup handlers. I think you also need to remove the Perplexity research from here. Remove the recoup tools, remove the research tool. I'm loving it. Get rid of some of these comments because I dislike dev comments. And so this MCP server is doing two tools, one for Perplexity Ask and one for Perplexity Reasoning. Let's search for recoup to see if there's any other mention of recoup. Yeah, we haven't deleted these handlers. Please delete the handlers for the recoup MCP tools. And instead of constants, this constant is also not hired. Is anything in this being used? Fans and posts only, which we're no longer using. Yep, get rid of the fans handler. We also need to get rid of the recoup lib. Yes, there you go. There we go. Remove it. It jumped ahead of me. I don't even need to tell it. Delete. Get rid of the posts, the constants, get rid of this whole folder. I don't think pagination is being used either. I think we can get rid of that. Posts, goodbye. Constants too. Constants, goodbye. Can you get rid of the directory or do I have to delete the directory? Clean. I don't know if it's fully clean. Let's keep checking. Is this file being used anywhere? Let's do another search for recoup. Nope, recoup not found anywhere. Let's kind of do a quick look over of this. We've got our handlers, which only includes Perplexity. We've got a lib for Perplexity client. Tool configs only include Perplexity tools. And now it's deleting an unused pagination file. API handler, how is this being used? Looks like I have not installed the packages, so I'll do that with pnpmi. Let's see if that fixed. There we go, that fixed all the errors in this file. This is our main server file that's setting up the Redis server and handling all of the message requests. This does not need to be touched. This is the main code to, whoa, what's wrong? Content, uh-oh. Let's see what the error, because it was just working. Let's see if chat's able to fix this. Other than that change, the lib looks good. Node modules is going to be fine. Public needs updated. Reference we can now delete. Don't need you anymore because we are now good. Don't need the scripts. That's not being used. Package lock. Other than that, we're looking good. Let's go back over to the server and Model Context Pro SDK. It's now starting to make more changes than I was expecting, and I'm starting to think we don't want. Let me do the same for the reasoning handler. Did that fix it? What are you doing? Args and extra, but extra is not being used. Does that fix anything? If I comment these out and then bring them back in, are we getting errors? We're still getting errors. You didn't fix anything. Let's roll back those changes to reason handler, valid params. Yeah, let's get rid of that. And ask handler. Let's get rid of that. And inside of server, we're just going to ignore these because it was working fine. Quick fix. Can I go TS ignore? There we go. Just ignore it. I think we're good to push. Let's open up our roadmap. Let's copy the text, paste it in, add all our changes, commit the changes, make sure I'm on the right branch, sync the changes, and now we're ready for our second pull request. X, save this. Let's go back to GitHub, open up our pull request, and then we'll try testing this locally again and verify that we no longer have the deep research tool. There's our pull request being auto-prompted. This will stay inside of our existing repo, create the pull request. Let's find the ticket. Get the ticket link. And we're now officially reviewing our pull request. Before I review the code, I should have the deployment, and I want to just get that deployment and see if it works. Let's get the URL. Take this URL back into my chat app, and let's replace our previous deployment with this new one. And let's see if our tools work any better without saying that it's getting errors. Let's try a new chat this time. If it takes longer than a couple seconds to get me over there. I think I might have made a mistake trying to do a new chat. Give me any of these existing chats, please. All right, we've got a chat. Could you please do deep research on the cumbia scene in Santiago, Chile? Could you please do deep research on the cumbia, not Colombia, cumbia scene in Santiago, Chile? It should not use a the Perplexity research tool. It should either use Perplexity Ask or Perplexity Reason. Let's see if that's actually correct. Okay, it says, what did it say? User asking for deep research, Perplexity Ask function. It's using Perplexity Ask, not Perplexity Research. Perfect. So it seems like it is working. And our changes did not break it. So I can do the same thing I did here. Whoa. I wasn't done taking my screenshot. Stop it. So much info. And here it is. Let's take you. Asking for deep research only triggers the ask tool, which means we have gotten rid of the reach tool. Asking for deep research only triggers the ask tool, which means we've gotten rid of the research tool. Check. Now let's go into code review. Come over to my pull request. I see that we got a message in the chat. Once I ship this pull request, I'll come over to your message and we'll see what you're asking about. The server, this should be a whole bunch of deletions. Yeah, we've got a ton of deletions here, nothing being added. We had to ignore some TypeScript errors, but it's still working. TypeScript errors did not seem to be legit. Deleted all the recoup APIs. Excuse me. We deleted the research tool, deleted the research handler, deleted the research tool, deleted the recoup post tool, deleted the recoup tools, deleted the pagination tool, deleted the research tool from Perplexity, deleted all the recoup tools, deleted a script that I was never using. Happy, let's ship this and move on to the next one. Let me make sure this chat message doesn't have anything to do with the pull request I'm on. Let's ship this. It's from Sid. We'll ship this. Okay. And we've now shipped. Let's take this, put it in here, and say ship. And let's move on to our next pull request. Co-founder Sid is here. Sid sees that I am shipping. Sid wants me to approve his PR. He's had a PR up for at least a week now, and it still hasn't been shipped. I have feedback on it. I think the biggest blocker on this pull request is it was vibe coded, and when I'm asking questions, Sid doesn't know the answer. And so one of the things I've noticed about working with vibe coders is while they might be able to write code, if you ask them questions about why a specific part of the code was changed, they might not understand in the pull request stage. And so a question that I have for the vibe coding trend that is growing Is it important for vibe coders to understand the changes that they're making? Do vibe coders have responsibility to understand the changes that the AI is making to the code? Or is the future of vibe coding, I don't know what's going on, I have no responsibility for this, the code was written by an AI, and so humans have less knowledge, humans have less understanding, and we just ship stuff without really thinking about it? Or is this an important step? It's good that we're adding friction here so that Sid takes more time to really understand the code. If you have any thoughts, please leave it in the comments, because I have a background coding for a long time. And so for me, having an understanding has been important for my ability to navigate the applications I'm building. However, I know that there's a whole new class of coders who don't have any formal education, and all of the code that they write is written by LLMs. And so maybe I need to adapt to my way of thinking. All in all, Sid has given, he said it was just a joke. So we're going to keep shipping. Let's go on to our next pull request. So this one's gotten moved to done. Next one, we're going to update our README and landing page. Let's go back to our Scratchpad for our roadmap. I'm in the wrong app. I want to be in this app. Please prepare your Scratchpad for step 3. We will be updating the README as well as the landing page from the templates that currently exist to actually represent the functionality of this MCP server, which has the Perplexity tools for ask and reasoning. And let me get the URL of the production deployment so that we can use it. That'll be up here. We go up to the project, go to the project. Let's get the URL. The official URL for the MCP server, which you can show both in the README and on the landing page, is this. Boom. Send that. Let it start thinking. I'm going to go back to linear. First step, we copy the branch name. We click on the 3 dots, check out to, create a new branch, publish the branch. And then we pull from origin main, sync the changes, and now we're ready to start on a new task. Scratchpad's been updated, documentation update plan. Landing page shows incorrect mantle network information. That's correct. README needs to reflect Perplexity tools. Configuration examples need updated. Missing setup instructions for the Perplexity API key. Landing page updates. Blah, 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 blah. Perplexity reason. Blah, blah, blah. Quick start. All this looks good. Would you like me to start implementing? And I'm just going to copy that. Prefix it with please, because we like to practice our manners. Paste to start implementing and let it get going. Vibe coding. We define the tasks, we review what it's thinking, but we don't write any line of code. The AI does all the work that we want to do. And we just drink tea and yap on the live streams. Perplexity MCP server, a model context protocol server that provides access to Perplexity's AI's powerful language models through a standardized interface. I would like this to note that it works with Vercel because that's not normal. And now it's going to update the landing page. It includes ask tool, reason tool, it's MCP compatible, real-time streaming. Yeah, we need to add in the Vercel info. Is this correct? npm install, copy the env. And I don't think there's a dev command. I don't actually know how to run this locally. I've only ever run it. I've only ever run this in a deployed environment. Perplexity MCP, it's updating all of our styling. Boom, boom, boom. Perplexity MCP instead of on-chain. Connect this MCP server to Cursor Cloud or your preferred AI workspace to enhance your conversations with Perplexity's powerful model. And down here, we've got the correct link. Available tools, Perplexity Ask, Perplexity Reason, Quick Start. The GitHub URL is incorrect, so let's go over to GitHub and let's get it the correct GitHub URL. Could you please update the README to highlight that this MCP server can be deployed on Vercel? That's one of the key features of this MCP server that you won't get on other Perplexity MCP servers, is that it is very easy to one-click deploy this onto Vercel for free and easy hosting of this MCP server. Could you please update the README to highlight that this MCP server can be deployed on Vercel? That's one of the key features of MCP server that you won't get on other Perplexity MCP servers, is that this is very easy to one-click deploy, not to play. Deploy the sound of herself for free. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. For free and easy hosting of this MCP server. Boom. Okay. While it's thinking, I'm going to update the GitHub link. It was close. It was just using voice first AI instead of Sweetman Tech. ENV example, what'd you change here? It just reorganized it. Not really necessary, but that's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if the AI wants to do it and it's not hurting anything, we focus on shipping. One-click Vercel deployment, zero infrastructure management. That's what we want. Deploy your own, deploy on Vercel. Wow. Look at that. It even gave us a one-click deploy with Vercel button. Instead of voice first AI, it's Sweetman Tech for now. This is sick. Let's see if it added that button. I'm curious. Is this link correct? The link's correct. Let's push these changes. I think we are in a good place. Go back to the roadmap. Roadmap. Copy ticket name, paste ticket name, commit, and publish. We can add a little X inside of this box. And now we go back to pull requests. I don't think we need, oh yeah, we're using the chat. I forgot we're using the chat to test. I was like, we don't need this anymore, but we are using it to test. Compare pull request. We don't want it going into the forked repo. We want it going into our fork. Create the pull request. Copy the pull request. Hashtag recoup. And we've got another pull request open. Pull request number 3. We're an hour and a half in. Let's come over to GitHub, and there's no functionality changed here. There is a new page, so I can share the page, and I can share the README. README is going to be hard to share as is, but the URL is going to be easy. Go back to conversations. Let's visit the preview, and let's see how it looks. I didn't test it locally. Oy, looking a little gross over here. Let's compare this to how it looks on prod. On prod, it looks great. Nope, this is no good. I missed my chance to grab the image, so we will select it from desktop. We'll time is it? 12:30 down here at the bottom. You've totally broken the landing page design. Period. I've rolled back your changes. Period. Please try again, making minimal changes to the design and focusing on the content. Again, please keep your changes minimal to avoid breaking the page design. I have not rolled back the changes yet, so let me actually do that. Command Z, reject. All right. Let's just send that. Sid, I'm going to hide your comment. If there's anything else you want to talk about, please send it. Thank you for participating. You're the first comment that I had today. The image could not be processed by the model provider. I uploaded a PNG, but let's just send it without the image. Continue and revert. Can you try again? The image is still attached. Okay, fine. I'll remove the image. Continue and revert. Try it again without the image. Just fix your changes, please. Not just Vercel, it should be Perplexity. Checking in on our overall status. We started by forking the MCP template that I've been using to host on Vercel. We deployed it to Vercel. We updated that MCP server to include the Perplexity tools that we needed. We then deployed it and added it to our chat to verify that our chat is using those tools correctly. We have removed the research tool, which did not work, as well as the recoup tools, which were included from the initial template. We are now updating the README and the landing page. And finally, this is the last change we're making into the MCP server. Once we do this change, I'll integrate this tool into our production app. We'll deploy it, and then we're done. All right. Is that correct? Have you actually made minimal changes? Perplexity MCP server. Live on Vercel. Sure. Perplexity. Sounds great. Available tools. We deleted one of the images. We'll see if that causes any problems. Looks like we update an SVG. Perplexity ask. New SVG again. Perplexity reason. And down here, we've updated the SSE URL for the M server. Looking better. I clean up the design of the landing page. Commit it, push it. This isn't the main focus. The landing page is not super important. So if it doesn't work this time, I'm going to get rid of this change because we want to stay focused on the MCP server. Go to deployments. I wonder if I have another deployment going somewhere else. It's taken a little bit for this to start. Three hours ago. Couldn't be the latest. It's been queued for a full minute. What's in my control? This being queued right now does not feel like it's in my control. Where I place my attention is in my control. In order to progress, I can still remove my pull request changes. I have on Vercel. We already reviewed this diff locally, but it looks good. I'm excited to see if those SVGs it wrote look good. Let me try to create a deployment. This commit has already been built. No, it's not been built, sir. Let's cancel and try it again. Let's check Vercel status to see if Vercel is having any issues. Vercel status coming up. We're showing all systems operational. So unless I've just discovered an incident which has not been handled, everything's showing operational. Let's close down all these tabs. There we go. Now we're building. We love all the pluses. All right, moment of truth. How does the landing page look now? Perplexity MCP server, Perplexity ask, Perplexity reason, live data features. Live data features are still talking about. Could you please remove the live data features section on the home page and expand the available tools to be full instead of only taking half, which is shared by the section you're about to delete? Could you please remove the live data feature section on the home page and expand the available tools to be? Remember to keep your chain minimal and avoid changing any styling other than what is absolutely required. We're close. We've got our config down here for anybody who wants to use the server live on Vercel. Perplexity MCP server. Connect this MCP server to Claude, Cursor, or your preferred AI workspace to enhance your conversation with Perplexity's powerful language models. I'll remove live data features and expand the available tools to take up the full width. I'm spending a lot of time focused on this landing page, which is not super important, but now we're deleting. This is the last thing. It is working. How does it look on mobile? Looks kind of ugly on mobile. Oh, yeah, it looks kind of ugly on mobile, to be honest. But I really don't expect people to be coming here on mobile. And again, we're not focused on the web. Well, we're not focused on the landing page design. We're focused on functionality. What'd you change? deleted live data features, except remove the live data features section, which showed outdated on-chain tools. Commit sync one more time. We're going to try one more deploy. There it is. It's already building. It's all ready. Moment of truth. Perplexity ask, perplexity reason. Looking beautiful. Let's send the link on Slack. Test here. Take a screenshot, so even if you don't want to visit the page, you can still see the changes. Dookie dookie. And now we ship. And we're on to our last pour. Well, we're done now with MCP once I ship this. I'm not even going to review. We already know they look good. Scroll down. Merge it. Okay. We have shipped our third pull request of the day. And now let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is actually going to be the easiest one because I don't even need a pull request for this. All I'm going to do is redeploy. What I'll do is wait till this finishes its main deployment, which it already has. And now I can go onto the main domain. I can copy this URL, go back to Vercel, jump over to Recoup, go to the Recoup chat project, and over here go to settings, environment variables, scroll down to Perplexity MCP server. And because I don't want to expose the key, I'm going to paste it up here, remove it. Yep. And let's get that URL again. Take the URL, paste it up there, add SSE, save it. We've now got our MCP server saved. Let's see if it works. Let's redeploy prod. And I'm going to show you, this is our last step to try to fix production. Create deployment. I didn't say this at all in the video, but Recoup has been broken for the past maybe 72 hours because of the previous Perplexity server we were using. If you go to chat.recoupable.com, I'll give a demo right now. I can write just going to send hi to start a chat. Oh, wait, I got to wait till this is done deploying. So right now, oh yeah, I wanted this to fail. You'll see that this will get stuck here, and then eventually this will disappear because the current Perplexity MCP server is crashing. And so the chat has just been broken on Recoup for the past, since Friday, since I shipped this. We're now on Tuesday, so it's half a week that it's been down. And so once this finishes deployment, the reason I wanted to host a Perplexity MCP server on Vercel was to get us off of the current MCP server we were using, which as you can see is broken, and get us onto the new MCP server for Vercel and get it to work. One of the things I'm thinking through is right now we've given an MCP server that uses our API key, but is open for anybody to query. It's not going to work if someone else tries to use our MCP server with our API key. They can run up a bill without us approving it. And so I'll want to update the server to accept an API key. That way anybody can use the server. And when you use the server, you just have to pass in that API key. So Perplexity MCP. We need an API key parameter. And the problem is anyone can run up our Perplexity bill. I'll talk with Sid about that. I don't think he's tuned in anymore. So looks like the build has finished. So now we can refresh and do the same thing, and we should now see a response. Hi, this is the final test of the day. Before, our production app was not working. Immediately now we get back a response. Let's try creating a new chat, because you might say, well, it was the second message. Was it really working? Could you please do research on Sweetman.eth and what their relationship is to the music industry? Let's see if it knows who I am and what it's going to come back with after I give it a generic query like that inside of Recoup. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7. Okay, we finally got redirected. ENS. Let's see what it said. It knows the tools that it has, Perplexity Ask, Perplexity Reasoning. We're getting a response. It's now going to use Perplexity Ask to research me and what my relationship is to the music industry. It seems like we fixed the chat, so I am happy. We successfully solved the root bug. It knows my abbreviation is Sweets or the music NFT engineer. It was able to know stuff like who I've been doing work with, where I've held positions at in the past, probably got that off of LinkedIn. I focus on free, incredibly neutral hyperstructures for musicians to leverage Web3. I focus on music NFTs, AI music solutions, vision and philosophy. I advocate for public goods in the form of quadratic funding, hyperstructures, and open source projects, improving onboarding processes to make Web3 technologies more accessible, developing better music metadata strategies, both on-chain and off-chain, building a global adoption of Web3 music tech. Their overall mission appears to be bridging traditional music industry practices with emerging blockchain technologies, with a focus on empowering musicians and transforming music production, distribution, and fan engagement in the on-chain era. Which would you like to explore? No, this seems like it worked. Can you do some reasoning to help me understand why he moved to Santiago, Chile this weekend? Let's see if it does some reasoning with Perplexity to try to think through. It's going to use Perplexity Reason, and then it's going to try to tell me why I just moved to Santiago. I'm curious to hear what it says, because I haven't really published it publicly, anything formal. And maybe the AI is going to give me a good seed to plant for if I was going to write something, what I'm going to write up about the move. As it starts to sit here longer, I wonder if it got stuck. It didn't get stuck. All right. One, why did I move to Santiago, Chile? One, Latin America's growing on-chain music ecosystem. There's regional growth in Latin America and Argentina, Brazil, and Colombia. I agree that those are probably the three strongest countries leading the projects. Strategic location. Being in Chile allows me to participate in the regional ecosystem while avoiding some of the economic volatility, like Buenos Aires, where events like Musica W3 are held. Wow. Offer valuable networking opportunities. That's crazy. Favorable crypto environment in Chile. Chile offers a more stable regulatory environment for crypto projects compared to neighboring countries, particularly important for my work on chain. Economic stability. Unlike Argentina's hyperinflation, Chile has a more stable economy while still allowing access to the growing crypto market. Cross-border payment hub. Chile's emerging role in cross-border payments. Professional opportunities. Regional conferences like DevConnect and Merge Buenos Aires are scheduled in the region. DevConnect in Argentina and Buenos Aires is going to be big, making Santiago an ideal home base due to its proximity while avoiding the economic challenges. Collaboration potential, talent pipeline, Web3 talent pool, music industry strategic advantages. Latin music's Web3 dominance, Latin urban and Afro beats generate approximately 70% of Web3 music activity on platforms like Gala Music, creating a natural synergy. Untapped market, diversity initiatives. The move appears to be a calculated strategy to position himself at the intersection of Latin America's booming crypto adoption, music NFT innovation, and relatively stable economic infrastructure, allowing him to advance his mission. Man, this chat has gotten so much better. This is where we're going to conclude. This has been how you can deploy a Perplexity MCP server on Vercel so that you can host it for free. If you got any value or you tuned in this long, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, give it a like. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll be back in a little bit with some more live streams. Thank you for tuning in.